So in this challenge, the task is to make the tuna fish move right across the screen. And if I press the play button, I can see there's a tuna fish over there, but the fish isn't moving because I'm going to give you a little hint to help you.
Make the tuna fish move right.
Now, when you're using the guided lessons, if you haven't coded it correctly, if I press the play button and my tuna fish is going to move right, my crab is going to go down. It's going to follow my instructions, but I'm not getting the next challenge button because I haven't followed this instruction to the letter. So I am not, the crab is moving down rather than moving left. So if I press the stop button, I can go back to my code window, choose the correct action and run the program again. And this time, see if I get the next challenge button. And there we go. I've got that correct. Now I've come to the last step in this, or the last stage in this guided lesson, where I can be a little bit open-ended. Now, if I watch the video, Jacob's going to tell me a few ideas. Now I can have a go at that, use his ideas if I like, or come up with my own. So let's just go to the design window first of all. And I've got 3 objects on there to start with. Now I can drag some more objects onto my scene if I like. So let's drag this object from the left-hand side, drag a crab on there. Let's put another clownfish. I love clownfish. So there we are. Now let's exit the design. So now I have the original tuna, trout and clown, and I've added 2 additional clownfish on there, and I've got a crab. I've now got what we call a click event. Now, the event blocks are these green blocks, and the lesson plans will explain these, what events are, and explain what these blocks mean very clearly. So if I use a click event, when I click on the clownfish, I want something to happen. I want my clownfish. So I drag the object into that click event or nest it inside that click event. When I click on the clownfish, I want the clownfish to do something. I want the clownfish to move left. So this click event has two parts to it. You program what you are clicking on. The second part of this click event is programming what action is going to happen as a result of that click. So let's press play and run my program. Now, is this clownfish number 1? Let's click on clownfish number 1 and see what happens. Click on him and he goes left. Now, he's not allowed off the screen, so he's just going to keep coming back on. Every time he goes back off, he'll come back on the other side. Let's press stop, go back to my code window. I want to make other things happen. So when I click on the crab is going to go right. Now, you'll notice there are only 4 action options. As the children move through the guided lessons, the options will become more open-ended and there'll be a lot more options for them to choose. Things like stop, hide, show, speak. Initially, the options are very limited because this is the first time Year 1 children would have been introduced to this code tool. So I'm going to save my amazing code. It doesn't do a lot at the moment, but it's great so far. So I'm going to use my drop-down menu and click the save button. Because I'm logged in as a teacher, I will need to save that. I've saved it in my work folder. Now, what I want to do, and this is an option children can use as well, and it's a brilliant idea. In the lesson plans, it will explain how to do this. If I click on the menu, I'm going to share my code that I've created now because I want my friends to be able to play it. Now, here are the 5 sharing options, and we've discussed this in the last webinar as well. I'm going to share it to the display board that the class teacher has created for me to share my coding. So I'm going to click on display board and I'm going to scroll down here to the Year 1 display board and send it to that. Now, you'll notice I am logged in as a teacher, so it's going to automatically approve this work to be visible by children in the class. If it was a child sharing the work to the display board, then it wouldn't be approved. You would need to, as a class teacher, go into that display board and approve that work. So let's click OK and come out of there. And now I'm going to go up to my sharing tab here, go down to my display board that I just shared, click on Year 1 display board. And there is the coding that I've just shared to the display board. And I can click on the objects that I programmed to move. I didn't program these other objects, so they're not going to do anything at the moment. So lesson number 3 in our Unit 1.7 for Year 1 coding teaches the concept of events, and it uses this guided lesson called bubble coding. So if I go back to code here, this is the bubble coding lesson that I want to use with my class. So I'm going to click on that and I'm going to set this as a to-do for my class. It has a title and a description there. I'm going to change this a little bit. You can add audio instructions to your to-dos that you set for your class so that they can hear you reading the instructions rather than having to read that. If I click next, I can tag it to the national curriculum objectives from the computing curriculum. Let's go down to Year 1, computing, computer science, and I'm going to select these 3 objectives, which are the first 3 objectives for the computing curriculum for Year 1. For Key Stage 1. So if I click save and click next, I'm going to give my to-do a date. So it's for today's lesson. I might give them a week to finish this because they might want to finish it off at home if they don't get to complete it in the lesson. And click next. And this is where I assign it to my class or classes. I'm going to assign that to class 1, which is my Year 1 class. And click close. Let's have a look what that looks like from a child's point of view. If I use my drop-down menu here and go down to my impersonate pupil feature, I'm going to pretend to be Amelia Allen here in class 1 and impersonate her. Let's go up to the to-dos and see which to-dos Amelia has set for her. Here we have bubbles activity. So if I click the start button, Amelia can go in here and watch the guide video, unlock the hint if she likes, and then do the coding. I would have gone through this with the whole class in advance of the children completing this independently. So hopefully Amelia will know exactly what to do. She's going to make the bubble move up. You'll now notice I've got 6 action options, not just 4 from the Fun with Fish code. And if I press play, off we go, my bubble's moving up. My next challenge is to see if I can program a click event. We already looked at this in Fun with Fish. So as you can see, they are building up their coding understanding as they move through the guided lessons one at a time. And the lesson plans, the PowerPoints will work together to support you in using these guided lessons to teach the coding principles. So now I want to hide the bubble when I click on it. So if I press play, bubble's going to move up. Ooh, and I want to click on it. Let's see if I can do that. Oh, click, click, come here. There we go. And it's popped. I'm going to save that. Again, I am pretending to be Amelia, so I've saved it and the system automatically uses Amelia's name as the file name. So I, as a class teacher, can mark that work and see who's done the work or who hasn't. If I come out of here, now I'm back on Amelia's to-do page. She's got two options. She can continue working and do the rest of that challenge, pick up where she left off, or she can hand it in. If she wants to hand it in, she feels she's finished, she can leave a message. When she hands it in, it will come off her active to-dos page and go to her done to-dos page. There it is. It's been handed in, ready for the class teacher to mark. So if I go back to being the teacher up here, click on the drop-down triangle underneath the avatar, go back to being the teacher user, you'll notice I have an alert telling me a piece of work's been handed in, and I can click on it there and go to the work to mark it. So if I click on that, it's taken me to this to-do area under class 1 in the file area. Here's Amelia's piece of work with her comment, and I'm going to click the mark button. Now I can see that she's half done the challenge. She hasn't quite finished all of the challenge. So I might add a comment here. Again, I can add a voice comment if I want to. If I feel that Amelia needs to do a bit more work on this challenge, I can click this redo button, which will send this task back to Amelia's active to-do page, and she can pick up where she left off and complete the challenge, but her previous coding will be there all ready for her to continue on with. If I wanted to assess Amelia's achievement for this particular task, because I've tagged this particular to-do to 3 of the objectives from the computing curriculum, I can click on this judgments area here. These are the 3 objectives that I tagged when I set this to-do, and I can assign a teacher judgment in here and save that. Now these judgments, if I come out of here, will be visible up here in the data dashboard area, down in the judgments area. If I go down to computing, year 1, computer science, and I can clearly see in this table on the right hand side, there is Amelia's work, and she's currently emerging for those 2 objectives and expected for that objective. I'm back now into code in the home page. Now each of these guided lessons are referred to and are used in one of the lessons in our scheme of work. If I go into the year 2 coding unit, unit 2.1, here I can see in lesson 2, if I scroll down into the resources and the preparation area, you can see that the guided lesson Princess and the Frog is used in this particular lesson. And I could set this guided lesson Princess and the Frog as a to-do for my class ahead of the lesson in preparation. Now the other thing that's important to know is if you are working through one of the guided lessons with your class, up here in the guided activity solutions area, I have the 2 code Chimp solutions. Here are the 19 guided lessons in Chimp, and if I scroll down you will see an overview of the lesson and a screenshot here of step 1, step 2 and step 3, so that you know exactly what the code window needs to look like in advance of teaching the lesson. In addition to the guided lessons in Chimp, we have up here in the coding resources area, in here the guided lessons and solutions, we have some assessment tasks that you can use with your class. There's Chimp, which is designed for year 1s and 2s, Gibbon for 3s and 4s, and Gorilla for 5s and 6s. So at the end of a coding unit that I've taught my class in year 1 or year 2, I might want to set one of these assessment tasks for my class, tag it to the National Curriculum Objectives for Computing, and then do my teacher judgments against that at the end, just to see how well the children have achieved at the end of my coding unit. Let's have a quick look at this Chimp level coding assessment. As you can see, there are 6 different tasks that the children can have a go at to see how well they've understood the coding unit that you've taught. The second assessment 2 here for Chimp level coding could be used with your year 2 children at the end of the year 2 coding unit, and there are 9 different challenges to see how well the children have understood the coding they've learnt in year 2. So in this webinar video, we have looked at the guided lessons in Chimp and how to use the lesson plans and solutions and assessment activities with your class. In the next webinar, we're going to look at the free code activities here, free code scenes and free code Chimp, where the children can get more creative, creating their own scenes and using their own objects.